Yes guys, so welcome back. First YouTube of 2026. We've been a little bit slow getting started, but we got some good videos coming. So today we're going to be running through a full posterior session. I'm going to be running through, my mindset on each exercise, the ins and outs, hopefully giving some value to you guys. So the current split still hasn't changed. It's looking at upper, lower, upper, posterior, push. Means we hit every single upper muscle group 3 times a week. We hit hamstrings twice and quads once, which works perfectly for me. My quads are a strong point. My hamstrings need to come up a little bit. They're not enough to, make it nearly 3 times a week personally. And my upper body just needs to be bigger. If I want to be competitive in the future, that's the area that needs to be better. So it works really good. I have actually played about bits, potentially trying a few other splits, but I always revert back to this one. I just can't think I can beat it. The amount of frequency I get on stuff, the amount of volume and the recovery is just so good. I'm coming in, I'm getting good quality sets, I'm going away and then I'm coming back a day later and doing it again. So yeah, in for posterior, like we said, and I'm sitting on the adductor machine, so you're thinking that's not posterior, right? So I like to add in adductors twice a week. I think it makes a big difference in the visuals in your legs. So I put this in on posterior as well. And I think that's something that people shy away from, that they shouldn't, is they have say for example a leg day, so it has to strictly be legs. But if you need more arms and it makes sense to put a bit more arm volume in, on your leg day, you can also do that, So that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to start off with adductors. I've done my warm-ups. We're just going to get into some good sets here. So let's see if we can beat the logbook here. So good set there. That's a match on last week, which I'll take. A big mistake I see people make on adductors is they just let their hips jump up and let their hips come forward, and it just completely changes the movement. When I'm doing adductors, as I'm bringing my legs in, I'm thinking about pushing my bum back, and that's really good cue to utilize, to actually stay on your adductors. When your form gets sloppy with adductors, you can do a fuckload of weight, a fuckload of reps, and that's realistically why so many people are using the gym pin on adductors, without calling people out. If you've got small legs and you're using a stupid amount of weight and stuff, there's usually a reason why. The other cue that I like to talk to people about is, even on a machine like this, if you can fully straighten your leg, like you can see that my legs were fully straightened out, they weren't bent like this, they were fully straightened back out. If you can do that, I do feel like you actually get more out of the movement. You get a bit of a deeper stretch in the adductor. So some adductors are made to do that to your leg, like the one over there, but it's broken, whereas this one keeps you in more of a seated position like this. But I actually let my feet fully hang out and it feels a lot better. So yeah, 2 really helpful cues, give them a go. Next up, we've got the seated hamstring curl. The best one in the business, in my opinion, prime. I love the way it's set up on a slight incline, getting a bit more of a stretch there. And I love that you can change the resistance profile. So we've got it on cam setting 5, which means that the weight drops off. So it's heavier in the lengthened position, it drops off in the short, which makes sense because that matches our strength profile. So if you ever imagine yourself doing hamstring curl, that beginning bit feels easy and it gets really fucking hard. Yep. This, you can change the profile that actually manages for that. I'm actually doing this single leg, and the reason being is I just find I can get my setup better when I do this. That is the main thing. I have got, what I found is something that I'm currently working on, is I've actually got a little bit more internal rotation on one of my hips than the other, and it has caused me over time to use one leg slightly more than the others. So I have got a slight strength imbalance as well, so I'm almost killing 2 stones. one bird, two stones, one bird, whatever it is, from this. So single leg is going to help me, you know, even out them legs. And not like there's a big visual difference, but there is slightly difference in strength. So even out them legs, and also just align it and get even better connection. And also just keep your ego in check. Like, you know, it's so easy to just throw weight around and hamstring. When you're doing single leg, it gets much harder. So yeah, I really love this exercise. It's getting pretty damn heavy now. And we've got a tough set to beat today. So let's lock in and see how we get on. Something I did actually forget to add is I'm using the seatbelt from gym pin. That's just going to keep them hips back, stop them from moving forward, stop us from cheating the reps, and keep us nice and locked in. It's a worthy investment. Use it on this, use it on the leg extension, use it on the hip press. Ooh, fucking hell, that was good. Even on that last rep, I can no longer get the concentric. I'm controlling that eccentric as slow as I can. Next up, we have deadlift. I think some kind of hip hinge is needed in a well-rounded plan. I think, you know, when you turn around to the rear, the guys with the thick hamstrings, glutes, erectors, full complete back, are all people that are strong at some kind of hinge, you know, whether it's a deadlift, a stiff leg, an RDL. I think they're hard. They take a lot to recover from. But the people that don't do them, I think sometimes have the gaps. There is obviously other ways, but I think for most people, if you can hinge, you should. My preferred method is a deadlift with a slight adjustment. So I used to be a competitive powerlifter. Deadlifting's always been my thing. Okay, I just get up into that position, feels good. You know, I've tried stiff leg, you know, I've tried RDL. They're okay. I just feel like I'm leaving some in the tank when I do it. Unless I'm using like a cable, which I do actually on my other rotation. So we've just got a normal deadlift, run one set. The reason being is they're just so taxing, you know, and it will eat into other workload and other recovery. More than one set for me, just it's too much of a trade-off. Like I just lose out, you know, on fatigue in other exercises. So one set's a sweet point. This is the first time returning to it after a while. So I am going to take it a little bit more moderate, and I'm going to leave reps in reserve, because if I haven't done this for about 3 weeks and I go in and go to pretty much failure, I'm going to be fried from it, you know, and it will take over other training later on. I always like to go, you know, maybe leave 1 rep in reserve in deadlift, but today I might leave 2. I say that now, we'll see. And the reason that I've missed a little bit of time is I just had a slight forearm strain, so I just come back with any kind of real heavy loading. So I'm going to see how it feels today. Hopefully it feels good. And I just think, like I said, if you're not doing some kind of hinge, guys, you know, it's very unlikely you're going to have a full complete back, you know. Holding a lot of weight and just hinges to the floor, hamstrings, glutes, erectors, traps, and isometrically, they're all going to fucking work. So. So that was the first deadlift set in, like I said, 3 or 4 weeks. Actually felt okay. A little bit off my groove, but a decent set to get back in. Definitely left 1, maybe 2 reps in reserve, which is exactly what we wanted from that. So, you happy with that? If you haven't noticed, I did chuck some leggings on for this, purely just on the basis of if I don't, I end up absolutely battering my shins. And I think it's a bit of a cheat code as well. I've only just started doing it, but it just kind of, it's like smooth. It kind of just runs up your leg rather than like friction. So next up, we've actually got a rear delt fly. Typically, a lot of time people will program rear delt fly at the end of the session. I'm actually doing it before my back movements. And the reason being is, when it just gets put on the end of a session, the quality and effort just isn't the same. And when I look at my rear delt development, it is something that, I do want to bring up and I do want to prioritize. So that's exactly why I'm putting it in before the back work. So I think putting it at this point in the session makes a lot of sense as well. It's not going to take much away from the back movements. So, if you're going to get some high quality in, then, why not? Whereas if you put it at the end of the session and you just half-ass it, that's where you're not going to get the stimulus that you really want from it. Prime extreme row, upper back focus, one of my favorite upper back movements. Again, prime machines, I love them. You can change the resistance profile. So typically in a back movement, you find this part of the reps easy and this bit's hard. So what we're going to do is actually make this bit heavier and this bit easier. So that's how you've got the 3 different pins there. So we're going to actually load the top and middle on this first set evenly, which is going to pretty much create that strength profile. And as we fatigue, we'll start to load just to lengthen even more because, we're constantly going to be stronger in that bit and weaker in that bit. So as the sets go on, that's how we're going to do it. Start with upper back, and then the next movement we move into will be very, very lat focused. So you're going to see as this workout comes together how it's complete, posterior builder, hamstrings, glutes, erectors, upper back, trap, rhomboids, rear delts, and then lats and finishing movements with biceps. See right there, really spending some time in that lengthened position. We know, when muscles are at longer length and under tension, that's potentially where we're growing most. So really take your time, at the bottom of that movement in that stretch.
Yes guys, so unfortunately my mic's died, so I'm just finishing this with a voiceover. So we've got the unilateral bench pull down here, one of my favorite exercises for lats. As you can see, what I'm really trying to focus on here is driving that elbow down towards the waist, really controlling this eccentric, allow my arm to nearly fully stretch but just slightly short from a full arm, and that's going to keep that tension on the lat. You can see I'm actually slightly twisted away from the machine, and that's just going to allow me to get a little bit more length on my lat. Whereas the lat actually attaches on the rib cage, as you rotate that, you get a little bit of extra length. So really just keeping control here, really driving that elbow down. Like I said, absolutely love that exercise. If you haven't got it in and you struggle to feel your lats, I highly suggest it. And then just finishing the session off with the prime bicep curl. As you can see, what we've done here is we're doing it single arm, and I think this machine just lines up better for me, single arm. That's why I'm doing it. And I've actually loaded the top peg only, which just means it's going to be heavier at the bottom and actually drop off at the top, and that matches this profile really good, because as we all know, the first half of the movement's much easier and the squeeze is really hard, and particularly on this machine it really replicates that. So loading the top, real good sets here, one of my favorite exercises for biceps. So after that, we literally just finished the session off with some hammer curls. By this point, I'm pretty tanked, I'm pretty exhausted. I just want to get some extra work in on the biceps, work the branchialis a little bit more fitness and width to the arm. Just a couple of straight sets on hammer curls with the rope, can't really go wrong. And that is the whole posterior session finished, guys.
Yes guys, so that's a wrap on the posterior session. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you got some value within the session, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe,
And chuck a comment in the bottom saying, yeah, buddy, you made it the whole way, you know, because I appreciate you guys if you watch the whole video, you know, you're a real one. So drop a comment saying, yeah, buddy, and I'll see you on the next one.